really good that the left of the left is worse than the right of the right, which is amazing because they're both bad. But now comes their next losing move on the chessboard, the Epstein files. Because they don't have anything, all they could do is speculate. And so what they're doing is they're creating all this speculation about files that even if in those files his notes was, I went with Trump to all these places and we had sex with all these underage girls. Let me tell you something. That doesn't get you anywhere. You have to have more proof than some guy just rattling on who's dead. So the thing is, even in the worst case scenario, but you know what? It really sounds good and juicy. And the Democrats are great at grabbing a losing issue. Rather than there's all these winning issues, but let's ignore that. Let's run to the Epstein file because it's sex, baby, and that sells to Americans. And that's what's going on. So
this is contradicted by
your hypothetical fun in the sun.
This is contradicted by the numbers because I'm looking at a longitudinal set of surveys about who is getting blamed for the shutdown. And so beginning with the shutdown in October and then through the 9th, 4 days ago, Republicans have consistently taken 12 to 15%, 13% more blame for the shutdown. So yeah, people are pissed at both sides, but they're more pissed at the Republicans. And we haven't even seen the Epstein files yet, but there are these emails released in which Epstein says Trump is dumb and evil and should never be president. And also, I mean, and
I got a question for you.
One more thing is that Trump's approval rating is now the lowest by far of his presidency.
Yeah, they've been crashing left and right. But I got a question for you, Nick.
Basically, much ado about nothing. So what?
Nick, what's your thoughts around the fact that Lauren Boebert, who's apparently a Trump ally, is one of the main people that wants these Epstein files out and everything like that?
So what?
So
this is what I'm saying is you guys grab red herring number 2. In other words, you bounce around from losing issues to losing issues. It's like your last losing issue was the shutdown. And of course, if you read
issues and all along those lines,
if you listen to CNN and MSNBC, you're going to get the stats that Rick got. But if you go listen to Fox, you're not going to get those stats. So the thing is,
I think Rick
that's a losing issue for them. And here's the reality: it was the Democrats who shut them down.
Okay? So I'm not looking at MSNBC. I'm looking at poll aggregators who take all the polls and then average them together.
Okay, panel, Rick, can we agree that was the Democrats moving over that allowed the country to reopen? Can we agree to that?
I guess so.
Yeah, of course it is, because it's a fact. So it's a fact that it was the Democrats who voted to shut the country down. Period. El endo. So all the rest of this stuff is liberal rhetoric that you guys are spending a lot of time with because you spend way too much time with CNN and MSNBC, who, on the other hand,
I don't ever watch CNN.
You spend way too much time with the liberal.
The alternative. Hold on. The alternative to CNN and MSNBC is Fox News, which is even more bullshitty than CNN and MSNBC. So
hold on a second. Hold on, because we got Sharif here. I do have a question. Hold on. I got a question for you. Hey, I got a question for you, Nick, and everything. Because apparently Trump is committed. He's very committed. He said even yesterday to this $2,000 tariff dividend payment. So is this going to actually happen? And if so, how is it going to happen? So we're going to find
it's not going to happen.
Why is he so committed to it?
It's not going to happen. It's a dream. Because first of all, he can't declare the dividend. It has to go through Congress and the Senate, and they're the ones that are going to vote for it. And the U.S. is basically bankrupt. So I'll tell you what, that's another dream. Go ahead and think that La La Land's going to happen, and you're going to get your $2,000 check. You ain't going to get no $2,000 check. You're getting nothing. So forget it. So what will happen is that's all poppycock, as they would say. But now there's another poppycock thing that the liberals are losing on. I love the streak. It's the Susan Sweeney or Sydney Sweeney. I didn't even know who the heck she
Sydney
was.
Sweeney. Okay, Sydney.
Mark.
Movie about a boxer.
I honestly didn't know who the heck she was, and all of a sudden, there's an ad that she likes jeans. Now, personally, I hate jeans. You'll never see me in jeans. I won't wear jeans. I think it's not classy.
You're talking about a non-controversy from 3 months ago.
What?
She did a jeans ad where they said she had good jeans
with American Eagle. I think
3 months
she's
ago.
doing a great job.
That's not what she's in the news for now. That's not what she's in the news for now.
I know, but see, this is how stupid it is. Okay.
Yeah, but nobody realized it was a manufactured issue that nobody in the world gave a crap about. No liberal in America.
That's what I'm saying. This is a manufactured issue, and I'm sitting there going, okay. First of all, I had no idea who she was.
Nobody gives a crap about what ads Sydney Sweeney does.
Right. And I didn't either, but now it's all over Facebook. I can't get her off
then your Facebook is in a time warp from 3 months ago. Nobody cares.
My Lord.
Anyway,
your friend Mark Zuckerberg said
folks have been barely paying attention to this movie, even though I must say that it is an interesting case with the actual boxer and everything like that. Because I watched the documentary this past weekend, and it is a fascinating story, and it's not even 100% sure that her husband committed the crime, even though it raised some interesting legal issues and everything like that in the piece that I saw.
You're talking about the movie Christie, with which tanked at the box office, in which Sydney Sweeney plays a gay boxer who got beaten up by her husband.
Yeah, apparently the movie completely flopped. Her only chance for redemption was the lefties of the lefties claiming that this was a white supremacy move. And I'm going, you cannot be serious.
Who the heck said that? I never heard anybody say that.
No. That's what I'm saying. All of a sudden,
I never heard anybody say that.
They're reaching out to left field, and then some of the commentators that interviewed her say, "Do you want to have an opportunity to speak about this?" I'm trying. What is she talking about? She did a Blue Jeans commercial. Who gives a rat's for her?
But I got to bring it to Toby because he's making up stuff about this whole thing about
Toby wears blue jeans.
All right, so enough with Nick bullying people and actually saying bogus stuff and just talking over top of people. So Nick, you know you're not going to overtalk me. That doesn't happen. I'm not going to allow you to do that. Nick, we're not going to do this. We're going to keep going like this because you know I talk professionally, so I can talk longer than you. Plus, I'm younger than you, and I have the ability to keep going longer than you. So let's not do this because people don't like us talking over each other. So now that I have the floor, one, in terms of the shutdown, that was dumb. That was a dumb argument from Nick to start with. Number one, the shutdown was both parties actually shut the government down, mainly the Republican Party. That's why they're getting blamed for it, because of what they were actually trying to shut the government down for. Everybody sees that they're trying to protect this Epstein list from coming out, because now that emails are coming out, Trump is fully tied to this Epstein stuff. And on top of that, you can see how he gave Maxwell an even cushier deal based on her lying in the deposition that she took with Trump's lawyers, who went down and moved her from this maximum security to this cushy country club jail. So that's a Republican thing. So please, Nick, stop protecting pedophiles. Number two, when you went down this whole tirade about Sydney Sweeney, absolutely nobody cared about Sydney Sweeney. Not a single soul, but you're bringing it up as if this was some big issue. You know who it was an issue for? It was an issue for the right wing to create some manufactured talking point. Therefore, we can talk about this. And check this out. We're going to change everybody's mind and show how woke the liberals are, even though not a single soul took the bait or even cared about it. So Sydney Sweeney became the darling of the Republican Party, the big time darling. She was a calling card. Donald Trump even talked about how beautiful she was and how amazing Sydney Sweeney is. So she was the darling of MAGA for a little while. Now she did this movie where she thought MAGA would be able to support her and come out, and it became a box office flop. It had nothing to do with the quote unquote liberals or quote unquote Democrats. Nobody cared. That's why the movie flopped. So again, Nick, stop making up stuff. Stop trying to justify your arguments and your positioning. And then the idea that, oh, well, it's all over my Facebook feed. Facebook Facebook basically what it does when you search for something online, Facebook is taking that data. When they talk about your cookies and so on and so forth, it's taking that data, your search engine stuff, the stuff that you are actually giving away for free to be able to use this, or that pays for this app. All these free things from Google to Facebook, everything else, the reason they're free is because they sell your data. So now when you type in, which is why Nick's Facebook page is so bigoted and full of all this crazy conspiratorial stuff, from trans issues to Sydney Sweeney, is because Nick himself is searching this stuff up, looking to troll other people. So your Facebook page is a mirror image of what you are searching, what you are doing. So Nick, your complaint about Facebook, oh, it's all over my Facebook page. That's your fault. Nobody else's.
Yep.
Also, like, nobody cares that Sydney Sweeney comes from a Trumpy family. That people have, people are free to vote for who they vote for. And yes, she comes from a conservative family. She doesn't speak out about politics.
No, she doesn't. She doesn't speak out barely at all about politics and everything like that. We do have Sharif here, but before we get to Sharif, I did see an interesting article that you'll enjoy and everything like that. And it's kind of like what Kim Basinger did, but apparently a former UNC basketball player has bought a private island for a lot of money, like millions of dollars in Belize. So you're gonna go talk to Reggie Bullock, because apparently he's got a lot of money that he can go buy a private island, just like Kim Basinger did in South Carolina and everything like that. So I just saw that come across my feed and everything along those lines. So I'm thinking you need to go reach him for some of the things you want to do and that Sharif wants to do.
Lots of people got lots of money out there. I wish they'd help, but I'm not going to go out begging for nobody.
I know that's right. No need to beg. If he wants to come and help the cause, that's a good thing and everything like that. Hey, Rick, I did have a question for you because I've been doing this judging of a couple of films for actually a couple of film festivals and everything like that. But two of the films that I have seen recently deal with your area, and it's an issue that Nick would say is a very concerning issue in North Carolina and also in California, because both of these were in California. I think one was in Oakland, the other was in LA. So are there a bunch of these encampments that are coming up all over California?
Yeah, LA is full of, LA has more than 70,000 homeless people. It's a huge freaking problem here. We've got the second most homeless after New York City. And yeah, there are plenty of encampments under highway overpasses and down by the river. It's a problem. I mean, not just
some of these encampments were very big. I know here in North Carolina, the encampments are usually tent cities that I've seen, everything like that. But these have got like mobile homes and a lot of very big.
In the past 3 days, I'm waiting at a stoplight, and a guy walks out into the middle of traffic, stops in the middle of traffic, and punches himself in the head repeatedly. So that's a homeless crazy guy. And then the day after that, I drive by and a homeless guy just on a street corner has started a pretty big fire, just burning random crap. So yeah, we have.
Okay, I got some stats for you here, Rick. Among Republicans, 82% blame congressional Democrats for the shutdown. Just to let you know.
Yeah, that's
82% blame the Democrats.
Nick.
Can we listen
Nick, you're filibustering. Nick, you gave a stat. Let Rick answer.
All right, so the Republicans are 25% of voters, independents are 50%, Dems are 25%. Among Dems, you'd find 80% blaming the Republicans. Republicans continue to pretty strongly support the Republican agenda. We'll see where that stands 2 more weeks from now if the Epstein stuff continues to discombobulate everybody.
Well, speaking of Epstein and everything like that,
real quick, okay.
I was just going to say,
you guys are having wet dreams.
We've got Dr. Sharif here, so I want to hear what Dr. Sharif has to say. Hold on, Nick. I want to hear what Dr. Sharif has to say about both Epstein and this government shutdown.
Yeah, they don't have anything exciting.
Another voice from another part of the world.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, shutdown and all of the things. Yeah, this is actually very important issues for USA, and this is very new for me. Even though Bangladesh and Malaysia and this type of countries, I never seen this shutdown and shutdown related things. This is very interesting discussions, but I have a solution for North America. I believe that right now USA has economically a lot of challenges. Besides that, USA, I also believe they have leadership challenges, because what I understand that many people like Trump initiative, some of the people do not like. There is a conflict. This is good. USA is a good society, and they have conflict. This is good for their society. But in terms of immigrations and other things, I have some question. Let's say suddenly for H-1B visa, Trump said that, okay, it's $100,000 if you want to apply. Then he said, hey, we do not have a lot of talented, so we need a foreigner. Then for students admissions, he changed a lot of law. Then they said, okay, we need immigrations and all of the things. As I work for talent economy, I have a better strategy, because USA need a lot of finance, a lot of fund. I believe what Nick is doing, this is actually a brilliant idea, but Nick should come in India or in Bangladesh, or can go to China, this emerging economy, that those who have a lot of money like Nick, they can do start their startup and business in emerging economy. This is the way they can compete with China, because USA has a lot of rich people, those who have money, and they can contribute in emerging economy. They can make money and they can transfer this money to their country. Through this process, maybe next 5 years, USA can overcome from these challenging situations. Secondly, I believe in terms of immigrations, definitely talent is something which is the ultimately solutions, and hardworking is the solutions for US economy. So definitely they have to go for a constructive immigration policy, and they can restructure the policy, and they can invite all of the talented people in the USA, because USA is still is an open society, and many people love to contribute and do work in the US. And third things, USA has 42 million youth, young, talented. I see many of my colleagues in USA, they are young, they are very talented, they are hardworking. Why don't they come to Asia Pacific? I can understand for their student loan and everything they broke. I'm sure if they come to this Asia Pacific and emerging economy, they can get C-level jobs. They can make a lot of financial freedom. And through this process, they can solve these things. For this shutdown, what we are observing, it's all about money. And I believe USA has their beautiful thing. They have Elon Musk planning to get $1 trillion paycheck. On the other hand, their country has shut down. They have a lot of homeless people. So I believe that still with their economical strategy, lot of invention, especially for the artificial intelligence, USA still can be global leader. But honestly speaking, a specific country cannot be the best in this world. They need the global communities. So I do not want to say that Trump, I will not support this Trump, make America great again, because this is very old passionate. This is the idea of 1990s or the 1970s. With the idea of 1990s or 1970s, you cannot survive in 2025. But they can go for the solution of this talent economy. They can go for this one world policy. They can definitely, Trump has some good initiative. Let's say he stopped different kind of war and unstable things. Secondly, definitely he stopped different kind of fund, which is ultimately utilized for politics or irrelevant things. He's trying to saving US economy. So I want to support this initiative, but he must need to be global leader. So for the global leader, he has to be very much cooperative for around the world. And definitely talent is number one. Talent is something through this process, US economy can regain their strength, and they can be number one, because USA has a lot of good things. Even for my World Talent Economy Forum, I get a lot of good support from my US friend, from Pot TV, from Nick Palveda, from many people from USA. So still USA has ability to contribute for the global community. Let's work together and make progress. So I want to make this world great again, not only America.
Make the world great again. I like that and everything, Dr. Sharif. Just really quickly, because one of the stories that I mentioned earlier, and I don't know how it works in Bangladesh, but I know here in the U.S., because I've got 2 high school nephews and everything, they get excited, or not really excited, but nervous about taking SATs and standardized tests and everything like that. But apparently in South Korea, they're banning flights because the majority of their young people, 500,000, are taking this very long. It looks like it's between 9 to 13-hour college entry exam. So how does that work in Bangladesh? Do y'all have like this really long? Because even the SAT, I don't think is that long. I think it's like several hours, but it's not quite 13 hours and everything like that. But how do y'all deal with that issue of education and getting to the college level in Bangladesh?
No, actually, the Bangladesh has a lot of students, especially I told you that 57% actually youth. And for that particular issue, this youth have ability to show their intellectual ability. This is good if they go for SAT exam and all of the things. Last week, I go for a conference for a international schools, and I find still, let's say, the school has 3,000 students from there, around 1,500 students every year. They go to USA and Canada for their higher study. So I believe that still for higher education, USA and Canada is a good destinations. Japan, like Europe, definitely good destinations. Also Australia, but people prefer North America. So intellectual ability testing and all of the things is very good. But China look like very aggressive because they are providing scholarship funding, available funding for the talented. They actually invite all of the talented people from around the world. So it may cause some sort of challenge for USA.
All right, let's get back to this story about South. Why would South Korea ban flights? It turns out that there's a 35-minute English listening test that across South Korea, as part of this test, they play the sounds of people speaking English. And so they shut down airports so the sounds of airplanes wouldn't get in the way of people listening to English. They also started the workday an hour later to cut down traffic, so car traffic wouldn't get in the way of people hearing and taking the quiz.
Yeah, it sounds like it's almost like a national holiday in some ways and everything.
Yeah, I guess it is. I mean, the East Asia is very test oriented. Mm-hmm. A few years ago, they had to throw out a lot of kids in South Korea take the SAT. Taiwan, same thing. And in one of these countries, they had to throw out every SAT score in the whole country because of a massive cheating scandal.
Oh, wow.
They take it much more seriously than the U.S. does.
Yeah, I was going to say they seem like they take it much more seriously. I did have a question because we talked a lot about AI here on this network and in this particular show and everything like that. And apparently the Russians have AI as well, but they had like a mishap because apparently their AI robot walked on the stage to this triumphant music and took a few steps and then fell flat on its face. So apparently that's something that people are giving a hard time about because it was a AI failure. So we're going to see some actual more successful humanoid robots.
Part of Elon Musk's deal where he's going to get paid $1 trillion if he hits. It's like in sports, like some quarterbacks, they get $1 million, $2 million bonus if they hit certain milestones. If their team makes it to the divisional playoff, makes it to the Super Bowl. So Musk only gets his $1 trillion if he sells 1 million humanoid household robots by, I think, 2030. Okay. So yeah, we're going to be flooded with robots, and yeah, some of them are going to be shitty.
Yeah, some of them are definitely going to be shitty. Hey, how much do we care about? Because it was one of the stories that I mentioned, but apparently people are looking at Hitler's DNA and trying to find out whether he had Jewish ancestry and what his body was like.
They found out a ton about like they think he might have had a micro penis,
Right.
like one of these little teeny frickin', the size of a French fry. They also the genetics found him in the top 1% for autism, for schizophrenia. I mean, he did go crazy. By 1943, he was fully crazy. Germany could have stopped World War II and kept a huge chunk of Europe as the Nazi Empire if he'd stopped fighting by 1942. But by then he was going entirely nuts, and he invaded Russia, and he caused his own demise through his insanity. And I guess genetic testing is bearing that out.
Yeah, proving that he might have been as crazy as people thought he was even during that time and everything like that. Are we going to have some success with this climate talks and everything? Because apparently the indigenous people were protesting and they were saying that their land is not for sale, but definitely they're trying to have some control around climate. And I know that's an important issue to Sharif and the fine folks in Bangladesh. But what are we going to do in terms of finding some solutions to the climate disasters?
Well, as we know, you don't need to because it's all fake, meatball. Okay,
you're just
so
shitting up bull.
There's no reason to look at
that. You don't freaking believe that.
And if it does change, so what? I mean, like I said, if it changes, it'll make weather nicer when I buy my place in Scotland. I'm all okay with it. So if you're worried about it getting warmer, I like warm weather. So I don't see a problem with it.
All right, so
but I'm not going to spend trillions of dollars trying to solve a problem that doesn't exist. It's like
we're going to have trouble solving that.
By the witness, I object. Oh wait, let the witness talk.
So we're going to have trouble solving the issue due to examples like Nick just gave, because I know Nick doesn't believe what he just said. So yes, there are actual people that do believe that. And honestly, it was Gavin Newsom who just went to one of the climate symposiums, I guess, and tried to speak out for the people of California, saying that they were on board with the initiatives. However, even if the administration is against the current initiatives, that California would still be working with these other countries on that. So we're going to have troubles with this administration dealing with it. We're going to, there are some countries that will back this administration just to curry favor. But I mean, it's going to be a battle. It is a huge threat, as you can see temperatures wildly going from 90 degrees to 30 degrees, the giant storms that are now more frequent. So yeah, it's a problem that needs to be addressed, but it's going to take a long time to address them until, especially an administration like the one that we have, who just sold, matter of fact, just rolled back, like I said, the forever chemicals out of the drinking water. There was another issue that they just sold something to. It was another rollback. But yeah, it's just, this administration, if it's going to be a leader, it's not going to be a leader in anything.
Here's how it's freaking going to go. Climate effects are going to continue to get worse, but we're going to be saved mostly from climate change because Gen Z isn't making enough babies. Where the human population is going to hit a peak sometime in the 2050s and then start declining. The fewer humans, the less pollution, and then we have to figure out how to power AI without wrecking the planet, and that'll be through nuclear reactors. Nuclear power in places where humans mostly aren't will power a lot of AI. So if we get AI squared away, if Gen Z continues to not make babies, a lot of the climate change effects will be terrible, but less terrible than they otherwise would have been. And by the year 2100, the year 2120, things might be.
Rick, you've said that several times about the lesser babies and the decrease in population of the humans and everything like that. But I do have a question for you. If the robots, the AI starts getting in there and they start developing human habits and all along those lines, couldn't that just as well increase the pollution? Because I'm thinking like
not if you're shooting your load into a robot lady.
No, but I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking about like even robots. Like one of the things that causes pollution is smoke. And so let's just say that the robots start smoking.
That's ridiculous. No, that's ridiculous. They're not going to do that.
That's the what is increasing a lot of the pollution and is going to constantly increase a lot of the pollution and draining a lot of the resources is the advancements in AI and robotics. AI is very bad for the environment. And the batteries right now, because of the way they design the batteries, they are not environmentally friendly as well. So you've got a lot of plastics, you got a lot of oil, because oil is in every plastic that you can think of. So you got plastics, you got oil, so tons of oils being drilled. You got, all the rare earth minerals to actually get those rare earth minerals to design the batteries. You also got the water to keep the AI servers cool as the AI heats up the planet and more people use it. All these robotics are going to use AI. So guess what's going to happen? You need bigger servers. Those bigger servers need bigger warehouses. Bigger warehouses need more cooling supplies, which means more water disappearing. So yeah, that's where a lot of it is, and not talking about, if a robot starts smoking, that.
It's just me having a little bit of fun, but I didn't. Realistic and everything like that, but definitely, they do create some pollution issues and all along.
But there's a lot of stuff that as people stay home more because you can work from home. If you get a robot girlfriend, you're not going out like looking to get laid like 5 nights a week like I used to do when I was in my 20s. You're staying home. So there's people will. There will be less automobile traffic. There will be less air travel as people do more things from home.
There'll be less kids too, though, because like I said, I'm 63, so it doesn't matter that much to me unless I find a younger woman and everything like that. But it's not like you're going to have a baby with a robot, to your point earlier.
Well, I mean, even that trade-off with the less cars on the road and the less air travel, you're actually not really losing much when you turn around and have to use the amount of water it takes to cool a whole server. I mean, the whole AI setup, or to design the batteries for the robotics. So you're actually not really losing much. We're consuming so much energy, and we don't have any resupply of that energy because we're not using a lot of reusable sources. I mean, until we get fusion down, fusion could be an answer to a lot of the situation, but fusion's not happening because of the, how are you going to be able to contain the power of a sun on the planet? You don't have any, you don't have the metals to be able to contain that. So, and then if you're looking like containing it, you got to cool it. Guess what's coming to cool it? You got to take more water. So it's just, your reusable supplies are not there.
Yeah. So the NASA wants to put a nuclear reactor on the moon by the year 2030. I don't know if they'll make it, but nuclear power on the moon is coming. I don't know if you want to build a bunch of dirty power, the place to do it is on the frickin' moon. If you could put up a gazillion little reactors on the moon and then laser the energy back to Earth, then that solves a lot of problems. And of course, that's not in the immediate future, but by 2070, if the moon becomes a massive nuclear fission power plant, then that handles a lot of the energy needs of AI.
Well, the tough part about that, as you said, it's not happening by 2030. In 4 years, we're not going to be able to create an energy transfer source and an energy transfer receiver.
They want to do a crappy little reactor on the moon to power experiments and stuff by 2030.
I mean, they wouldn't be able to power anything but anything on the moon by 2030. You're looking at 4 years, and even being able to get the actual supplies or anything there to do that
That's not happening. It's because it takes you.
I'm just saying that AI is going to continue to want a shitload of power, and and you want to put the power generation for AI where people aren't, because one place, we can talk about putting reactors in orbit, but that's a major security risk. You can talk about putting reactors, north of the Arctic Circle, but then you're trashing the Arctic, so.
It's there. Yeah. I completely agree. It should be where nobody is, but I'm just saying by 2030, the technology isn't even close to being there.
We're basically at 2030. It's like you said, it's 4 years away.
Yeah, that's just around the corner and everything. So we're almost there. So it's going to be a matter of whether that takes place or not.
And then even more so, think about the amount of money that it would take to do that. We can't even get money to pay people in the U.S. or even across the globe. We're not even investing. When India sent that probe that landed on the moon, and this is why I like the science community, because the science community backs the science community. It doesn't matter where you are. The science community helps each other. You could be from China, you could be from Indonesia, you could be from India, wherever. The science community celebrates the science community and tries to work with the science community because they understand if they want to get to different places, if they want to get to Alpha Centauri, you've got to be able to work with anybody and everywhere because there's genius across the globe. This is why I'm against the whole $100,000 on the thing that Trump is talking about, the immigration thing. But either way, when that probe landed on the moon and they figured out that was the cheapest probe, not only the cheapest to land on the probe. it was the cheapest probe to land on the moon and the way it was done. And the science community tried to work together, but nobody's putting right now. The U.S. isn't putting money towards that. Didn't investing to create and figure out more ways to create more probes so you can actually have legitimate space travel. That's not happening. Same thing
is in disarray. We outsourced everything to Musk. Here's one more thing about climate change, though. The per capita carbon footprint of every American drops by 1% a year because we're getting more efficient technology and we're staying home more. We drive less. We because we can do more. We shop online. Everything online actually saves energy. So if we can, get AI squared away, humanity's consumption of resources will continue to drop per capita.
But Rick and Jacoby and even Dr. Sharif, and if Nick wants to join it, isn't that dangerous though? Because one of the things I remember hearing during the pandemic was that because of us being inside, and I'm inside quite a bit doing this whole Pod TV thing, but I do get out to my Cultural Arts Center and other places. But it is, they say it's hurt us because we're not as able to adjust to being around people and everything.
That's
like that.
Right. You can see it with Gen Z. It's called the Gen Z dead stare, where Gen Z has crappier social skills because they spend so much time online. Will that matter? Like my buddy Lance says that America has become pussified, that men aren't as manly as they used to be, and the testosterone levels are dropping. And all of which is probably true, but do we need is that going to destroy society? Men being pussies? I don't frickin' know.
Well, I think that is a whole misconception of actually what's going on in the first place. The manly man thing, the idea that the U.S. is becoming less manly. What exactly is manly? Toting around a gun, being shirt, chest out, and all that. The definition of manly is changing. So that's where that's coming from. Yes, testosterone levels are dropping. There's a lot more to do with the chemicals within the water than the actual, hey, they're becoming less manly because they want to watch a sensitive movie. That is dumb. So it's just the definition is changing. The realities of the situation is that it is okay as a man to share feelings now, which before in prior years, no, you can't share your feelings. You just got to suck it up. And that's why the suicide rate amongst men is high. So the definition of manly is changing. The testosterone levels, that's dealing with more so chemicals and the environmental effects than, hey, they're just not wanting to tote a gun everywhere they go anymore and get into fights.
Well, hold on.
That's not manly.
So Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, wants to make the military more manly. He just demoted like one of the highest ranking, most qualified women in the military. And like, do we think a more manly military, a tougher military, is going to be a better war fighting military? I think given modern technology, no. I think Hegseth is a fucking idiot. And
Hegseth is a racist. Hegseth is a misogynist individual. Yes, he has some racist tendencies that push in the background. You saw that in what he did with his policies that he was pushing. But all Hegseth is doing that he cares about is white men. That's why anything dealing with DEI, any brown, he took the friggin' Tuskegee Airmen. They actually took out what was it? There was an institute that was dedicated to women that they just took down, and that was overseas. And I cannot remember the name, but this was all Hegseth. So yeah, manly means white male, according to Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump.
So I'm just talking about in general, the social changes that are happening to the U.S. You can say that they're bad, or you can say they're just frickin' social changes and we need to get used to them. Gen Z being the way Gen Z is, making fewer babies, being more online, being more on devices, you can say that's the end of the world, or you can say it's a social change that we got to get used to.
That's something that you can say and everything like that. We're winding down. We got about 4 minutes. Hey, I see Nick's back and everything along those lines. Nick, I know that you put your bid in and all along those lines for the Napoleon brooch, because apparently somebody bought it for 4.4. So I figured you probably bid for 4.2. You just didn't have the 4.2 to get it and everything like that, because apparently he lost it during the Waterloo fight, and they just recently sold it earlier today. It looks like for $4.4 million, but apparently he lost it while he was fighting in the Battle of Waterloo. You're saying that
Napoleon was wearing fancy jewelry into battle?
Yes.
Well, that doesn't sound very manly, and he was the greatest general of the 19th century.
Yes.
Yeah, he was pretty good. You know,
he had a 13-carat brooch, diamond brooch that he was wearing into battle, and apparently he lost it in between all that battling at Waterloo, the one that he lost, and everything like that. But you're right, that doesn't sound all that manly, even though a lot of athletes were wearing all kinds of brooches and all kinds of jewelry.
During the World Series, my wife could not believe all the diamond necklaces on the players.
Well, they can afford it because they get paid like hundreds of millions of dollars to hit a bat.
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible. That's part of the problem with wealth disparity, is that for some reason, if you're like an athlete or an entertainer or even certain corporate executives, you can get $1 trillion, $1 billion, and all the people who work, they get squatted on. So, it's
well, the problem is the athletes and entertainers, athletes in particular make a ton of money, but they're also getting screwed when you take into consideration how much value they generate for the team owners. Well,
the thing is that what you have is a winner-take-all economy, Rick. And the thing is, remember during the Eisenhower administration, the income tax rate was 90 to 94% to help pay for the war and the debt.
At the highest, if you made more, if you for the highest earners, if you pay more.
If you're making over $1 million a year, pay 90%. You know what is in Spain? You'll love it. You hit 600,000, you're paying 47% to Spain. And the only reason you're paying that low is they give you a break if you come from overseas. So they can get down to 20.
Speaking of breaks and everything like that, I saw an interesting ad on TikTok of all things, but I was just curious. Is it actually true, Nick, that there are certain islands in certain places? Because I think this was in Italy where they are paying people to come to these.
Yeah, they are.
Because they were like offering an island in, I want to say it was Italy. It was like $6,000 a month or something like that.
Well, they pay people to move in certain places in Europe because they need people. And they also do it in the United States. If you move to Alaska, you get the Alaska Royalty Trust Fund. You would get a couple $1,000s a year because you're living in Alaska. But is it worth living in Alaska for $2,000 a year? No.
High tax rates on high earners actually helped business, helped if you're a CEO of a company and you're going to be paying 90% on any income over $1 million, that encourages you not to take your earnings in the form of salary, but to instead take that money and put it back into your company,
or deferred comp, or maybe hopefully your employees, but I doubt if that's going to happen.
No, but it happened in the 50s. It happened in the
well, it does more than anything. It levels the playing field. All the Democrats, they say Trump's a king. Wait a minute. We have kings everywhere. They're called high income, ultra high net worth individuals. They're kings of their own kingdom.
And what's the highest tax bracket right now? 38%?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and the lowest it's been, roughly the lowest it's been since they were at 90% in the early 60s. Elvis paid 91%.
I know, yeah, but also the thing is your capital gains tax are low. And then on top of it, the inheritance tax doesn't kick in until you have 30 million. So the Americans are so stupid that you have to realize, unless you have 30 million, you are broke. Once you hit 30 million, then you have to start paying inheritance taxes. When I was a young pup, the inheritance tax started at 600,000, and for a couple it was 1.2 million when I graduated from law school. Now it's 30 million. So if you think about it, it's like this. Did that favor the rich? Absolutely. Now, what about the minimum wage? $7.25 an hour.
Yeah,
it's the same amount. In the meantime, if you're rich, you just can continue to be rich. So the kings, we do have a kingdom here. I know that.
It's called regular.
We do have kings here. And by the way, your friend Jimmy Kimmel is a king. I'm surprised you don't bow and kiss his bloody ring.
He's a good guy.
I didn't say there were bad guys. There are good kings out there. Rick has nothing to do with it.
And I'm sure he'd be I'm sure that if they raise taxes, and I'm sure he makes more than $1 million a year, and if they raise taxes on people who make more than $1 million, of course he'd look into tax shelters, which really exist less than they use, but he'd willingly pay taxes. He's not. But there's a thing called regulatory capture, which applies more to the Republicans, where regulatory capture means that rich people, through their political contributions, own the regulations. The Republicans do the bid of billionaires, so billionaires don't have to pay as much in taxes.
Yeah. And then there's, like I said, even Alice Walton, who I thought bad about the Walton family, but I saw the donations she was making. She's not a bad person. And same with Mackenzie Scott. I don't know if you know this, Mark. She's funded 2 HBCUs. Recently, she just gave $50 million to Winston State.
State University. Yeah, there's a lot of folks.
She gave him $50 million unrestricted gift. So she's doing something good with her. Wonderful.
Recommend that there's a sitcom. There's a sitcom about Mackenzie called Loot, where Maya Rudolph plays the richest woman in the world. She got tens of billions in a divorce from her scumbag billionaire husband, and she's trying to figure out how to do good with it. And it's a really fun. It's not a it's a funny show. Like the last episode we saw, she crash lands on an island that is occupied by a nudist colony led by Henry Winkler. So we got to see Henry Winkler naked along with a bunch of other naked 80-year-olds.
Oh, great. That'll be exciting. I can't wait.
We can't really wrap up anything like that. Just really quickly, Nick, I did talk to a maintenance worker here at my apartment complex, and he was telling me that they just recently moved because him and his wife are travel nurses, but he was saying that the interest rate has gone up. I think he said from 2.9% to 7.5% that they were paying. So that's another issue we got to deal with housing and everything like that.
I'll see if we have that next on David Walker, because I think housing is an extremely important issue. And I think it's also important that we get out of here because we're past our hour.
Yep.
So we got to go. Everybody's leaving.
We'll get out of here too. So there you go.